Hi, chat. Welcome. We are back and we are about to get started with our interview with Kay Turner. And I always love when we go to break and I come back and there's just like a whole wall of messages because you were so chatty while we were gone, chat. And especially with the ladder.
I
I love to
know.
see the ladders. Love to see the
We
ladders.
we
Happy
love life. You
birthday,
know what?
Shirley.
Yeah, the ladders are for folklorist and folkwise member Shirley Shields.
Yeah.
It's their birthday. Aries season. What up? Our angriest child.
Our Aries
I hope
baby.
I hope Shirley, when you watch this later or whatever, maybe you made it in the chat now but aren't saying anything. We made this great ad for you because it's your birthday. So
Happy
what's up?
birthday.
We love you. Thanks for participating in our show. 'Cause we love
And
you.
now we're here with Kay. We just played about an hour of Bayonetta with Kay, and I shan't think
With
that is enough
crazy.
time because she's got so much to talk about that game.
Like during break, we were
She
even
kept
talking
going.
about the game, being
Yeah,
like,
Kay, you were
I
still
got
going
more.
during break.
So good. So we might circle back to some of those questions at the end.
Yeah,
But
and as always,
anyway,
if you have questions for Che or for Kay out there in chat.
Yeah. Add those questions in, right?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
Jada December says solo K stream where she plays the whole game. Yeah, we'll get Kay to play. Kay's gonna play what, Pong and Bayonetta,
I
your two
don't think
games.
that'll happen, but
yeah,
we'll
Pong and Bayonetta.
Pong and
But if you
Bayonetta.
have questions for Kay, either put them in chat or if it's a long one, you can always send it to folkwise13 at
Yes.
gmail.com and Daisy will read it to Kay. But other
Yeah.
than that, I think it's about time we get started. What do you think, Kay?
Yeah.
And
I mean, this has been an incredible, evening already for me.
oh, thank
It's been a
you.
little bit. Yeah, I'm really, I don't know, I'm really impressed. This is this is a move toward a new kind of folklore experience for me anyway.
Okay.
Oh
Maybe,
my god.
I like to think we're
maybe
doing.
for Ricky Saltzman too. I see she's
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
on
Yes.
the
She
wire.
is.
My
Welcome back,
old
Ricky.
my old
Yeah.
friend Ricky. Anyway, yeah, this is very cool, and I I do have a lot to say about Bayonetta. She's incredibly intriguing to me, and we've had some we have been talking about certain aspects of her, sort of her attributes, her
Mhm.
hair, her elongated body, her, her guns coming out of her stilettos, you know, all of this kind of stuff that sort of makes her the figure who she is.
Yeah.
But I was just saying to Dom and Daisy in our break,
Mhm.
I think an interesting question for us to ask about her is she really a witch? How are traditional ideas of the witch, being either, sort of discounted and not taken into account at all in the figure of Bayonetta, or how are those characteristics kind of being remade in the figure? Um, it's kind of interesting. Um, anyway, I mean, the thing is, you would never. I mean, Wonder Woman is not a witch. The she. So there are these ways that that I don't know. I think it's. I mean, I'm kind of stuck in genre. I'm a genre kind of whore, I guess. When you're a genre whore, you're kind of like, oh, I'm trying to figure out just what fits.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to do that, just because the stories themselves, the action in a video game, at least. And honestly, I know very little about video games. This is the first time I've actually even seen one, live. So I'm very new to even thinking about this. Maybe you can really tell that because I'm kind of, I'm sputtering here with a lot of interest that it has been generated by just watching the Dom play the game the past hour.
Yeah.
But this question is interesting to me, a figure like this who's nominated as a witch, but is she really a witch? I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that we could get into in the chat. But anyway, do you want to? I don't know. Maybe you have some other things you'd like to talk
We
about.
we do. Speaking of getting into it in the chat, Daisy just revealed
Yeah.
the new chat command, which is "what a witch," which prompts the moderator bot
What a
in
witch,
chat to
yeah.
say "you look fabulous." So people are spamming that for you, Kay.
Probably one of your most
Good,
iconic
good.
sayings.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
You look fabulous.
You look fabulous.
So, before we get any deeper into the questions that we prepared, of course, we got to thank the intrepid and fabulous Folkwise interview sleuths who help Daisy and I with the questions every week. Kay,
They're
rules
amazing.
around here are: if you like a question, if something makes you blush or go, I can't believe you thought of that. Don't just thank me and Daisy. Thank the sleuths.
Yes,
So,
they're instrumental in our show for sure.
Chad has been
They help us
prompted.
with good questions. Yeah.
Chad has been prompted to thank the sleuths. They can see it on your face if you've got a sleuth thinking question. But we should get into we should get into your questions. The first one's just kind of general because we're catching you like a week after you got back to the States. But Kay, how was Iceland? What were you doing in Iceland?
Oh, Iceland. Iceland was fabulous. I was there. A colleague of ours, of Dom's and Daisy's, and mine, Valdemar Hofstein, who runs the folklore program at the University of Iceland. He invited me to come up and give a public talk. And my friend Joanne Conrad, who's a folklorist who works on a fairy tale and narrative, and she is there on a Fulbright right now teaching a course on feminism and folklore. So I came up to teach that class and give a talk, and we got totally into traditional witch and ogress figures in Iceland, and there are a lot of them. The most famous of which is called the Christmas Witch. Her name is Grilla, but she's more of an ogress. And she's great. She comes out at Christmas time, and what does she do? She eats children.
Oh, of course.
She's a child eater at the time of the birth of the Savior. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, watch out, Jesus. You might get gobbled up by Grilla, and then your story's done. Right? So, yeah, no, I had a great time. We did a performance they had a big party, the Ethnology and Folklore Department and the Society for Ethnology and Folklore in Iceland. They have an annual party, and so we had the Grilla girls, the GRRLZ girls perform, and we sang a song that I'd written for my band Girls in the Nose, Medusa, and I taught it to them, and we sang it a cappella. It was crazy good. We had a lot of fun. Yeah.
So that leads me to about my next 3 or 4 questions. But first I'm going to say, Girls in the Nose, Gay K. Kay, there is like a pervasive theme of the nose across your scholarship. You even started the stream with your nose on. What does the nose know, Kay? What does the nose know, and why should we know it?
Here, I should put my nose on there.
There you go.
There it is.
Fabulous.
There it is. You gotta have it. And have your nose. Well, the thing is, I have a fairly distinctive nose, and one of the when I was forming a band years ago with Gretchen Phillips and Betsy Peterson, who is also a folklorist, who's just retiring right now from the American Folklife Center. She's an old friend, and we had a band. We started a band back in 1985 called Girls in the Nose.
Yeah.
And the reason we started the band was because each of us, Betsy, Gretchen, and I, had been told by men at various points in our, sort of younger lives that we would be prettier if we'd gotten nose jobs. My situation is like,
like that.
Yes.
You
Oh,
can
it's
probably
just
hear
so-
my eyes rolling.
Yes.
Yeah, we are
Yes.
very
There they
upset
are.
by this.
Eyes are rolling.
As a person who very relates
so-
to this also,
Yeah,
yeah, and I
same.
have a very
Yeah.
distinctive freckle on my nose also. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and there's this way that you get called out, and rhinoplasty is still the second most widely performed operation on women in the United States to this day.
Wow.
Today, so there is this abhorrence of the female nose if it's like if it is a pronounced feature on the face, it's supposed to be removed, and yet it really does. It's the best indicator of the witchy sort of identity, because aside from the way in which the witch's nose has become kind of a symbol of her perversity,
Mhm.
it's also that it's also that witches are known for their sense of smell. So like that would be a question that we would ask Bayonetta.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
do you have a pronounced intense sense of smell? We don't know that about her. Does she pass the witch's test, right? So anyway, yeah, I became kind of obsessed with the gospel of the nose, the good gospel, the gospel of the good nose. The good nose is, a woman's nose is not to be messed with, and uh
I have to bring up
whatever.
Yeah, go
I
for
have
it,
to bring
Daisy.
up a comment that Jada December said in the chat. It said, Kay, thank you for helping me get over my gender dysphoria about my nose with that powerful statement.
Oh.
Yes!
All right, there you go.
Yes,
Okay,
Jada.
December. Yeah.
Yes. Honestly, though, yeah, I get
Well,
it.
and I have. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
This is reminding me also of like the Eurocentric beauty standards of having small noses and noses that look very particular way also, which I think is like wrapped up in this narrative too, or at least this like kind of like third wave feminist perspective of like body parts having a correlation to femininity is just like not what we want.
Yeah.
There's nothing about that.
I
It's not
have
real.
this,
Yeah.
I have this new little book that I did during.
Oh, yeah. Lean it back so you don't get the glare.
Yeah.
Like tilted back. Tilted back.
There it is.
Yeah, there.
Bring it like
There,
closer
there,
to you.
there,
Yeah,
there, there.
perfect. Yeah.
So this
That is the nose.
This is called Before and After. What the witch's nose knows that Andy Warhol's nose does not know.
Ooh.
That title. Oh my gosh, what a brand new tongue twister to emerge in
What the
2022.
witch's knows.
It was a performance. It was based on the Andy Warhol paintings Before and After. He was obsessed with his nose, and he had an early form of cosmetic surgery that failed, where they used to sand the nose in order to bring it, and his nose just turned into a big lump of scar tissue. So he always hated his nose, and he did a series of paintings called Before and After, which were based on advertisements in comic books and such that showed a cartoon of a woman, with a hooked nose. That was the before and after. So in Girls in the Nose, I reversed that, and we had, the before was the pretty the little button nose, and the after was the big honker. Yeah,
that's where you keep your knowledge. Your knowledge.
that's where you get
Knowledge.
That's your knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Your schnozzlage.
One
That's
more
what I'm
thing
trying
on this note,
Sorry.
Kay. What is a Medusa moment? I know you mentioned Medusa earlier, but what is a Medusa moment?
A Medusa moment is a moment when you feel that power of turning something into stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you have that, you have that power. Everyone has it. It's not just a woman's thing to have, really, I don't think. I think anyone who is in a position of being negated in some way has within them the power to reverse that by turning that negator into, a rock, basically.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what a Medusa moment can be.
Hell yeah.
Kay, I'd like to talk to you a
Yeah,
little bit about
you
as
got to
long
have.
as
And again, Bayonetta,
yeah.
Bayonetta, she, it's hard. I think she has her Medusa moments too. I'm sure.
When you
Sure.
clear the last enemy in an area, there's like a freeze frame, so that's kind of like a turning to stone.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that like, yes, that's
yeah.
like, yeah, 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 yeah.
So speaking of Bayonetta and witches in general, I really want to talk about what a witch, this whole 10 plus year project that you've been on. I don't know how long it's been, but it while I think
Since
eventually
2012, yeah, it's
since
been about
2012,
10
yeah,
years.
so 10, yeah, so 10, and it isn't like your traditional academic monograph. It's kind of, I don't know what words you would say, multigraph. It's unfurling over a series of talks and performances. And why did you choose to develop it this way?
Well, I felt that I got interested in the witch figure the through the Grimm's fairy tales. I
Mhm.
was teaching a course. Um, I was teaching a course at the University of Winnipeg. I was a guest there in 1998, and I had never really worked on folk narrative. I'd been like material culture all the way. My dissertation was on and folk religion. It was on women's home altars, and it was on the Virgin, and it was on folk religion, and it just, I mean, there were aspects of narration that played into it, but in terms of sort of standard folk narrative, like the folk tale or the fairy tale, the legend, I really, I had been a philosophy and literature major in undergraduate, and I was like, I'm done with that stuff. I want to do something else. So but when I was teaching this course for Pauline, um, she told me, it was one of those great things where she said, I've got, like, there are 12 women who are going to take this class, K, and they're really smart. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, yeah, I gotta give them, I gotta give them
I'm gonna
what they
try this
want,
time.
what they need. I gotta give them some good stuff. And so I figured I should have some folk narrative, section of the syllabus, even though I didn't feel like I knew that stuff very well. But I thought, it was a course on feminism and folklore and nascent queer theory. That was kind of the course.
Yeah.
So I thought I would take steal a little bit from the feminist fairy tale literature that was really coming into being in the 90s. And so I was at the University of Winnipeg. I'd come up and I told Pauline I needed to finish the syllabus, and I went to the library and I don't know, I was doing research, and I looked at this volume of the Grimms, and I was like, oh God, Kay, you're such a bad folklorist. You've never even read the Grimms, really. You know a few of the tales, but it's like you don't know the Grimms at all. So I pull the Grimms down, the collected Grimms, and it was like a revelation. I mean, it was like the queerest, I mean, literally the queerest of the queer that I had
Hell yeah.
ever, seen, read. And I was there for like the next 2 days, just reading it cover to cover. And, so I came into the class and I was like, we're going to do this folklore and feminism thing, but really, the thing is, we got to work on this Grimm stuff because it's really crazy. It's really queer. There's all kinds of queer stuff in here. So that kind of, that was my introduction really to Frau Truda,
Mm.
the witch who really falls in love with the young girl, and the young girl loves her. And it's number 43 in the collected Grimms, and it's a very obscure tale. Nobody knows anything about it, but when I read it, I was like, woo, um anyway, that got me on my little witch's path. Is that thing with Pauline's uh, Winnipeg course, and going on from there, and I've done various projects since then. But in 2012, so now 14 years later,
Mhm.
I I was already writing about witches and the Grimms and other things. I was doing some writing, but I just felt like I was not touching into it enough.
Mm.
I was not getting to know the witch for who she really is. I felt like I had to perform, that performance would be a way into knowledge. So I decided to do this kind of performance of pedagogy kind of thing, where you basically take a story or a motif or, about, in my case, about the witch, and perform it to try to engage with the pedagogy in a deeper way. So I've done 12 of these, or no, now I think it's up to like 14 of these
Wow.
performances. With different, I've done the Night Hag, I've done Hansel and Gretel, I've done, I've done the Witch in the House, I've done various aspects of the witch, and done it as performance. I'm working on a performance right now on Hecate,
Oh, my
Greek
favorite.
god, and that's going to be a big performance that's going to happen collaboratively with two artists here in New York. That's going to happen in October. So yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a really great way to do folklore in a really in a kind of a more engaged way. But it doesn't. The thing that I like about it is that my writing is still important in it, and and of course, folklore scholarship is very crucial to doing, to the dramaturgy of these performances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that
Anyway,
was I know I love the whole history from like the genesis of the idea to
Yeah.
the engaging with it through the performance, which I really
yeah,
relate to.
yeah.
This, like, can you be on a second time? Because I have so many questions for you based off of that answer that we do not have time to get into. But oh my gosh, I'm thinking about like embodiment and performance and like understanding and through
Yeah, I mean,
performance and like, oh my god, okay.
Chat or okay, we have a question
Chat.
from chat right now where
Yeah.
in all caps Anazonian says, "Where can we see them? Are the performances in New York?"
yeah, the performances are in New York for the most part. Yes, yeah.
Are
And
they
this
at a location? Let me look up the location. Where can I find
the
information?
performance that the one that's coming up in the fall, it opens on October 22nd, and it is at 5 Miles Gallery, MYLES, 5 Miles Gallery, over in Prospect Heights in Brooklyn.
Cool.
And the performance will be, I'm not sure, it'll either be on October 30th, or but anyone who wants to contact me, they can contact me, and I can put them on the list. Or you can also follow me in Instagram, and it'll be advertised there.
James Dalton Bell says it sounds like Kay invented Folkwise, but with live performance instead of video games.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong, chat.
That's not wrong. Wait,
not
can
wrong.
I need to interject because
Do it.
Kay forever was like, "Oh, you finally figured out folklore TV, an idea you've had and a number of other folklorists have shared since the 80s."
Yeah,
All it took was the plague. All it took was the plague.
It was the plague, and
I
then we
know.
did it.
It just
Literally.
took the plague. I mean, literally, when MTV happened, it was like, we were like, we need FTV. FTV, that's the thing. That's the wave of the future. Videos about folklore,
You were way ahead of us.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, hey, but, did we ever really, as close as we came was videos of the Croning.
Yeah.
We'll get to some of those, but
Yeah.
All right. Kay, you mentioned women's home altars earlier, and you mentioned the version, and also I'll say beautiful necessity, naming the lost. And I think a general question I have about this whole like intellectual through line of some of your works and some of your exhibits are how does the difference between private sacred spaces and public sacred spaces necessitate a difference in the intentionality?
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that has characterized that, kind of it's not an answer to that question, but it's a question
Mm,
that begs an answer,
sure.
which has to do with the ephemerality of those expressions. So within the context of private practice, ephemerality becomes a kind of engagement, with incense, with prayer, with moving things around on an altar, lighting candles, doing kinds of things that are are ephemeral and time based, right? It has to do with the way in which time is being kind of pushed around as something that is manipulated for spiritual reasons. So in the home altar, your engagement with the divine comes to you through a legacy within the family. So you're also doing the thing that your mother taught you, or that your grandmother gave you the statue to the statue of Guadalupe, so you could
Yeah.
carry that tradition on. So there's a flow of time, a chronological flow of time that's also being interrupted in this way by the momentary need to pray, the momentary
Mm,
need to ask for a favor, right? And get something done, to
yeah.
intervene, that whole idea of the altar as a place where intervention can take place,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But in the public space, ephemerality has a different it's by degree, but ephemerality has a different purpose. It's by way of announcing that a death is absolutely it cannot be recovered. So the ephemeral object that has to carry the burden of that is made much more plaintive, really.
Mm,
Much more sort of the mourning that comes out of an ephemeral gesture is really much more poignant. So that's why our project, Naming the Lost Memorials, we wanted to give people an opportunity in the COVID pandemic. Many people had not been able to participate in their traditional funerary
yeah.
practices in
Yeah.
Brooklyn and in New York. They were, the cemeteries were closed, and traditional practices like wakes were not happening.
Yeah.
Um, so those those are public ephemeral. I mean, the funerary practice in and of itself is kind of a liminal, ephemeral kind of period of time that you engage with in order to satisfy, the death of someone, to begin a process of moving from, mourning to grief, right? Mourning is more of a formal practice. Grieving is more of a personal practice
Oh.
that you move toward by being helped through the process by sitting shiva or going to a wake, and having your loved ones surround you. But then you move into your personal grief, and that's a different state. So yeah, they're definitely related. But I've been worked for quite some time about this whole way that ephemerality, because ephemerality also encompasses gesture,
Yeah.
both the thing done, it's the thing done that makes it so.
I that Kay, that was a great answer, and it's also like a microcosm of everything I love about folklore, because you were naming these
Yeah,
things that we are around all the time but have never stopped to examine what what the nuance behind what is happening. How many funerals have
yeah,
I been to and
yeah,
never thought about the difference between mourning and grieving? Like, great answer.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And that's so fascinating for me. Like I'm part of a group in my cohort at the Ohio State University in comparative studies, and we're throwing on a conference about death, and we're
Yeah.
trying to like put the grad students into panels, some about grief and mourning, and like it's now I'm like opening up a whole new relationship between the two words to me, and I'm like, Oh my gosh! Like, do we have to put them in new panels now? Because this is like really fascinating to me. I echo Death Loris saying I literally caught an AFS high from that answer.
There you go.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Can I ask you another question that's sort of in like the curatorial exhibit space?
Yeah, sure.
So, and because, and I think you're the right person to ask this because you occupy several different academic spaces, folklore, performance studies, etc. But when you're building an exhibit, how do you balance centering, conveying the artist and the truth of the art versus the perception of what the audience thinks they want to know?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question.
Thank you, sleuths.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I've done exhibitions that were primarily about trying to use the museum or the exhibition space
Yeah.
as a place to, you know, reveal, to a public audience a deeper understanding of traditional material culture and how that fits into the context of life, of of living. That's the thing that I think is really it's hard to do because you know it's one thing in the contemporary art world for an object to stand on its own as an object, where someone might say, oh yeah, that's that biomorphic form, oh, that reminds me of Jean Arp, or someone, it's got it, here, the viewer may establish the lineage based on how much they know about art, right, about contemporary art or modern art. But when you're doing exhibits in the that are revelatory of folk culture, and it's you really have to set the object in context, and it can be done. It can be done through video. It can be done through through kind of tableau like structures. I mean, we
Yeah.
did, years ago, we did in 1980 in Austin, we did, I was doing my dissertation research on Mexican American women's home altars, and we got a small grant to do a show at the Texas Memorial Museum, which is a museum at the University of Texas. Me and Pat Jasper and Alicia Gonzalez and Mary Margaret Navarre. Now, so it was the four of us, and we had gone out. I'd already been doing research and on my dissertation, and we were but Mary Margaret was someone who had helped me identify Mexican women in Austin who were altaristas, who made altars. And so we went to them and we said that we wanted to make an exhibition in the museum about the practice of making altars. And of course, they were like, on the one hand, they were like, what are you talking about? On the other hand, they were like, oh, you want us to be in a museum? We want to do that. So it was
hell yeah.
It was kind of like hell yeah. I mean, I remember Chole Piscina, who was like, she was my great teacher in my dissertation, and she looked at us and she was like, oh, muy famosa. She was like, she was going to have a little bit of fame. But we created these. We literally brought their home altars into the museum. They gave us. They didn't allow us they didn't allow us the some of the absolutely rare and beloved family icons, but they allowed us to take most of the stuff and and we recreated with wallpaper and kind of the places, the little chairs that they would sit in and all this kind of stuff, and it just caused a sensation in in Austin. It was like, I mean, people were like, this was 1980. It was called La Vela Prendida, the ever burning candle. And I mean, the La Vela Prendida is kind of the light of faith, and but it caused a huge sensation because people were not used to seeing folk culture represented as a as a living kind of as a living expression.
Yeah.
And as hard as it
Oh my gosh.
as it is to do that in a museum setting, it was possible to at least give people a sense that this was what it really looked like and felt like to have an altar at home, which I think for a lot of Texans at the time, especially Protestant Texans viewing the exhibit, they were like, what is this? This is like,
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
How's that for
I will-
context?
I'll never forget. You gave a great talk about this very subject at Utah State University one time, and I was there, and I feel like this was the moment that like ephemerality clicked for me, where I was like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like the stuff that's really important to us that can just goes away by the nature of the kind of thing it is or the medium
Right.
that it is.
Yeah.
And like that has totally shaped how I look at like the permanence in relation to significance of culture or like the remaking constantly of culture. Like it's really made me think differently about
Yes.
time and permanence. And what does that mean? Permanence isn't always tied to physical presence, right? Like it can be the continued like building of an altar every year cyclically or something like that, and which has really just like blown my mind.
Right.
As like a person who's like been learning more and more over the years about this, and like I will never forget that amazing, like I can't even imagine how you would ask someone today, like put your home altar in a museum. Like I don't know, that like amazes me that was something that was able to like unfold, even if it wasn't like fully
No, I know.
present, and like that adds its own kind of fantastic layer to it. I don't know.
Right.
Daisy, can I
could go on.
point something out
Sorry.
because chat will bring
Yeah.
it up if I don't?
What?
You already know what you did, right?
Did I say what?
No, but you said a whole sentence in the voice that you normally use for what? You did. You can put a whole home all. You did an entire sentence of what? Which chat loves to point out when Daisy does that.
As part of our folkwise folklore is that sometimes I get really excited about stuff and affect a voice subconsciously.
Never heard a whole sentence before.
I unconsciously affect a voice of amazement as part of my like enthusiasm. Notice a wonder, folks.
Right.
It's a pattern. Oh my gosh,
The thing about that show too, though, was that we brought the women came into the museum.
Yeah.
They were like the co-curators of their presentation. So they came in, they approved that they moved stuff around that they didn't like and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there was something about it that was. There was a certain way, and maybe anyone who's in the chat who's an older folklorist will attest to this. There was a way in that period in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. It was all kind of experimental.
Yeah.
There were no ground rules really. You were working person to person. Like if you knew 4 Mexican women, in East Austin who you were working with and having a relationship with, and they wanted to participate in your show, it was like, yeah, we're going to do a show. Let's do a show.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
oh my gosh,
there wasn't a lot of, now I realize that, probably there would have been, for one thing, I was lucky to escape the whole, what's it called? The human experiment, where you have to sign off within the university about
IRB.
experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
I mean, this was before that came into being. So
So fascinating.
It's fascinating, yeah.
Daisy, what do you think? Should we go into some fun questions with Kay right now?
Oh,
We've got-
those weren't
I want to peek
the
behind.
fun ones.
I want to peek. I want to peek behind the curtain and just say that, like, we had trouble narrowing down questions.
We really did.
So yes, yeah. I
Oh,
think, so those were fun questions, but these are going to be a little bit perhaps shorter answers depending on how you choose to answer them. But also kind of like rapid fire, some silliness can really come.
oh, this is more like the rapid. Oh, yeah, this
Yeah.
is the one where I have to prove my mettle.
We'll get there. We'll get there. First off,
Yes.
Kay, especially because we've mentioned the Croning a few times, and we've never actually had the founder on to go into detail on the Croning. I guess our question is, what is your favorite story from the early days of the American Folklore Society Croning?
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I do think that, I mean, there are so many, there were so many funny moments. Again, just because that came up out of, just, it was something that was made out of nothing,
Yeah.
And so, but I would have to say that one of my favorite moments was, we did the Croning in 1997 in Austin, Texas.
Mhm.
And so my band, Girls in the Nose,
Yep.
we were the house band for that Croning. And I had this whole thing, this idea set up that we, everything would be about anti-fertility. It would be like that would be kind of the theme,
Yeah.
against fertility. And so I went. The meeting was at the Hyatt Regency in Austin, and I was still living in Austin then. So I went over to the Hyatt because I thought, they always have props, that they use for different, they have seasonal props that they put out for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all this kind of stuff. So I went over and I kind of lied my way through like the managerial world at the Hyatt Regency, and I said, I finally arrived at this one woman, and I said, "Look," I said, "we're having a very important ceremony for women, in the American Folklore Society. It has to be very special and everything." And I was wondering if I could perhaps get a few props to enhance the experience. And she said, "Oh yes, of course." She goes, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, maybe some rabbits and chickens, things that that can be symbolic." I didn't say symbolic of what, She goes, "Oh, sure." So she takes me up to the prop room, which is this big like room that's full of rabbits, chickens, like snowmen, like you name it. It's all up there, and it's just stuff that they pull out for the holiday.
Yeah.
So and they had pedestals to boot, and so I got all of these things that chickens and eggs and ducks and all this kind of stuff, and we set them up on pedestals in front of the band. And then as the evening wore on, while everyone was dancing in a frenzy to Minstrel Hut and Medusa and all these songs, we would just kick those pedestals over and then just shout out all of our obscene anti-fertility sort of rant that went on. And all the chickens were flying, the styrofoam chickens, they were flying all around the room. And in that same ceremony, so there's always like a ceremonial moment that kind of represents the transformation of the woman from pre-crone to crone.
Mhm.
So for this one, I had I'm always I'm one of those people who doesn't think far ahead enough. That's like one of my, it's both a blessing and a curse. Sometimes if you think too far in advance, you get too worried about doing something right.
Yeah.
Which I never have.
Yes.
So so I was like, oh, what am I going to do for the ceremony? It was just like a couple of days, it was like Tuesday. Everyone was going to be coming in on Wednesday. And so I was looking around, just scavenging in all my crap that I had at the house. And I found these pointy birthday hats, the little kind that you wear on your head. And
Oh
so,
my gosh.
so it was right still around the time when, when Madonna's cone tits were kind of, in the popular mind. So I thought, oh, I'm going to spray paint these gold. And so I spray painted them gold. And then the ceremony was that I lit them on fire. And so the women who became crones had fiery tits as
Clarifying question.
yeah.
Inside the hotel, you lit them on fire?
Yes. Oh, yes. Inside the hotel. Inside
Oh
the
my
hotel. And we have great pictures. I mean, Roseanne Jordan was losing it. She was losing it. She was laughing so hard.
I'm losing it right now.
Yeah. I mean, it was memorable. It was a memorable croning. It was a lot. It got the job done. Because, in a croning, you want to get the job done.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Congratulations to the two of you in chat who guessed that. I can't believe you called it.
I cannot believe. Oh my gosh. Some people are talking about how they still have their gold bras from
You love a safety hazard. I love that.
I love a safety hazard.
You do love a safety hazard.
That's my philosophy. That is absolutely my philosophy. Love a safety hazard.
Clip that, somebody.
Yes. Somebody clip, please. Somebody clip this. Oh my gosh. People are being so silly right now. I love it. Wow. That's so fun.
Okay, I've got
get the job done, and then someone goes, the job is arson.
It's true. Okay, that's the job we're getting done.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you that Daisy and I think, have been preparing this whole time.
Yes.
Okay, what is your second favorite Prince lyric?
My second favorite.
Now, should we explain?
We might need to explain, Dom.
Daisy and I feel like we might know. Daisy and I feel like we might know your favorite Prince lyric. And that is because after the Prince, or after the queer disco in Baltimore.
Which I can show you. Actually, I have framed literally above my desk right now. I have a picture from above.
The aerial shot of everyone dancing.
This is an aerial shot of. It's not like coming through like totally clearly, but I'm here. Dom is here, and this is all of us. All of the queer-esque members of the American Folklore Society who are present at that dance are all right here. And I have it framed next to me. Oh my gosh.
But Kay, Daisy and I have a vivid memory of after I Would Die For You by Prince came on, you spent the next 5 minutes to yourself going, I'm not your woman, I'm not your man, I am something you could never understand. Prince said that. And you said that about 5 times to no one in particular. So we assume that's your favorite Prince lyric. What's your second favorite Prince lyric?
I'm not a man. I'm something you can never understand.
Prince
never
said
understand.
That. Prince said that.
I think that is my favorite.
What's number 2?
I guess, well, oh golly, you put me on the spot here, but
let's go.
I mean, I do have to say that, in the moment in which the song came out, that Let's Go Crazy was just so important to me at the time. That song and being able to really go crazy was so. I mean, that's the one that just popped into mind.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I love that song, and I love that. I love that command.
Yeah. People don't frame it as like a command or an order.
Let's go crazy.
Let's
go.
Let's go crazy.
Yeah, go crazy. He is commanding.
Reminds me of
I can't
So
make
many
it through a
American
wedding
Star
ever.
Wars.
I can't make it through a wedding without hearing.
Gonna
Like if I
say.
hear "Dearly Beloved" at a wedding, I'm always
Oh,
saying to
dearly
myself, "We are
beloved.
gathered here
Oh.
today to get through this thing called life." Yeah,
For life.
electric word life. That's a mighty long time. It means forever. I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The afterlife.
Oh my gosh.
All right, if you don't stop me now, we'll sing the whole song to no one.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for the bits, T Papas, and thank you for the bits and the subs the whole interview, everyone. It's been so much
Yeah,
fun.
everybody. It's been amazing.
Daisy, which one of these last 3 questions should we ask?
Oh my god, we've got a bunch of really good ones.
got a bunch of good ones.
Folklore's got a crone. I love this.
Okay. I think the last one, because it relates, if I'm gonna do like dream slash like slightly intoxicated Daisy brain and like make this full circle to the question about like what does it mean to be a witch.
Oh.
The last question, Dom, do you want to read it?
Yeah, let me explain it. We were
the
trying
last question. Yeah.
we were trying to come up with like a good list of songs about witches. And what we realized was all of our like prototypical songs about witches are all sung by dudes. What's the best song about a witch by a witch?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Songs by witches. Well, I feel like we really need to go there. I love to sing, witchcraft and Season of the Witch and, and when I've done that with different bands, when you feel the power of like Season of the Witch is such a great song.
Yeah.
It's such a great song, and it, because it really does, it does call up, it makes the call, right? Of sort of what it means to be a witch, be in the season, to be in that space. The song really does that job, and if you're singing it, I guess part of the thing is, that the songs themselves, there's so many good ones, but it's all about who the singer is and what the interpretation of the song is in the moment that it's being sung.
Yeah.
So, at the very end of I wanted to sing a song about a witch at the very end of my presidential address on The Witch in Flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the lyrics from an Edna St. Vincent Millay poem. It is a very odd and interesting poem about a witch. And
yeah,
I sang that at the end of my address to the society. And it was really, it was just one of those moments where I was kind of like, I needed a summary. I needed a way to summarize the, kind of the gravity of the moment. When you're, like when you're trying to make a talk, you're really trying to say something about like what you think, right? It's it's like talks are so great, really, because if you take them seriously, and someone's giving you, oh, you get to give a talk, well, then say what's on your mind, right? Don't mess around. Tell people what you think about something.
yeah.
But so because this was about the witch in flight, and it was kind of, I kind of ended it with a question about the way in which the witch in flight was a little bit like the profession of folklore. I wanted I wanted to cap it in a way. And so I think that song can really do that. Song can really, sort of bring something to a different, level of understanding. So if you didn't get the whole other part of it, the song will help you, move there. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be a really great project to do a whole thing on witch songs, you
Yeah.
know, kind of sung by women.
It's all yours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm on it. I'm there.
Well, Daisy,
People are
Case
also.
racked up a lot of questions from the chat and from email.
I know. I was gonna say people are also just agreeing with you. The first thing that seemed to come.
Oh,
to
I love that
mind
song.
was-
The song from Camp. If there were witchcraft, I'd make 3 wishes. Da da da. Yeah, I know that song. Whoever.
Oh my gosh!
Folk song.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that song. We sang that. That's the camp that I went to. The camp I went to, we sang that.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of people have said Rhiannon by.
Mhm.
Did I hear Bella
was it?
singing?
I think
Yeah,
you
we
did.
heard. We maybe heard a little
might have
meow
heard Bella
back there.
sing.
Might have heard a little meow
Bella
back
was
there.
singing, yes.
Hmm.
Oh, here she
Oh,
comes.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
She
yeah.
said her name. Here she
Yep.
is.
Here she comes. She's awake now. They said you got to hold off till 10 o'clock. Oh,
I love this. Yeah. While Dom is setting up maybe the final act of our interview, do you mind if I ask you a couple of chat questions?
sure.
Jen Siegel asks, "Who is your favorite witch?"
Hi,
Oh,
Bella.
and also
Who's
Kira's
my-
the kitty.
Hi, Bella.
Oh, who is
Don't
my
really-
favorite witch? Oh, here she is.
Oh, ciao, Bella. Buonasera.
What a
All
cutie.
right,
Oh my
Bella.
gosh.
All right. All right, you. Go on. Go on now.
Oh,
We'll have
that's
something
so kitty.
So my favorite witch. I'm telling you, I'm very fickle, but I do have to say that I think Frau Truda is really my favorite witch because I got so involved with her. It was like I had a relationship with her, and she taught me a lot about about desire, about sort of a whole the tale is framed around longing,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so there is this thing in the witch is the witch has a lot of sort of pent up desire and longing and unfulfilled sort of unfulfilled desires that kind of can make up who she is.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful mix. I mean, that cauldron to a certain extent is about taking some of those desires and materializing them, trying to put them into a material form that will sort of give you a way to understand them or to put them into the world in some way as magic or whatever. So because she is so interesting to me, because that story is just still so haunting to me, I guess she's my favorite. Frau Truda, number 43 in the Collected Grims. I suggest that you take a look at it. It's like,
yeah.
It's one of those, and I wrote extensively about it in the book that Pauline Greenhill and I edited called Transgressive Tales, Queering the
Wearing the
Grims.
Grims, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a long essay in there, and it kind of explains my thing about Frau Truda. But I've always wanted to do. I think part of the thing about Frau Truda too is that I have never done a performance based on her, and I really thought that by now I would have. She was kind of like,
Yeah.
she was kind of like the original idea for wanting to do the performances, but she was kind of the first idea about it, and yet I never really have. She's so powerful to me in such a weird way, I guess, that I can't quite touch into that performance yet, but maybe I will.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Oh my
just
gosh.
goes to show that the witch figure can be very 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 potent, very powerful.
I have a couple other questions for you from chatters.
Okay.
I think I'm going to ask one more, and then we can do the game. And then if you're still feeling up to it, we can ask some more chat questions, or I can just forward you the emails that we were sent.
Oh, that's
and you can answer them at any time you want, or something like that too. Just because we got a lot of them. Anonymous asks, given your work on the ephemeral, what are your thoughts on the way that things are so much less ephemeral in the age of so much being retained or recorded? Have you noticed any impact of ephemerality in relationship to the recording culture of today, so to speak? I think is what they mean.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really interesting question. Because I guess I think of ephemerality primarily within the context of ritual. As a way of as a performative that gets something done. So the kind of recording, the ephemeral recordings that you're talking about they also could be framed, within the context of, some of them could be reframed within the context, I think, of ritual, depending on how they're used, depending on how they're, what they become. I mean, the video of the killing of George Floyd became, it went through so many it is an ephemeral thing. That could have as easily been deleted as it was preserved.
Right.
That's the thing about all the kinds of recordings that we do, in our daily lives now. A lot of times we just record something for a minute, send it to someone, delete it. Snapchat, sort of made that possible. But then you have a video like, the George Floyd murder, where, it goes through various stages from being an ephemeral thing to being a source of witness, and then a source of testimony, and then a source of history, right? So and it still retains a certain kind of, ephemerality, in the sense that it only records the passage of time, within the context of those 9 minutes in which George Floyd died, and that's the whole thing about ephemerality, is that it's very time based. It always plays with time in a way that is, disturbing, or rectifying, or or ritually satisfying. An ephemeral moment, like a wedding, a wedding vow that's videotaped, right? It's the moment of the two partners saying "I do," right? And it's videotaped, but really the performance is really what mattered.
Yeah.
So the record of it, then I mean, it opens up so many interesting questions, because the record of it is not that important, but it becomes, but it becomes a record. But who knows? Then 50 years pass, and the children's children, who look at that, that preserved recording of, their grandfather and grandmother marrying, then it becomes something else. I don't know. There are a lot of interesting questions.
Oh my gosh, you're like blowing my mind right now, because now I'm thinking about like the nature of social media as a kind of like assemblage or bricolage, where like you are, which is like basically a fancy word for putting things in a new context. So like a news video getting put into social media in some ways changes the context of the nature of the original item.
Or a picture of someone's Shiba Inu, goes on have a life, becomes a currency 15 years later. Yeah.
Becomes a currency because it's been recontextualized into a new kind of medium. So that's like a fancy way of talking about, or like that's what something like assemblage or bricolage is related to. That folklorists like to talk about, connected to this kind of stuff that disappears a lot or has like a very short temporality or short kind of time to it.
Right.
Yeah, Bubbly Like Soda points out that all of TikTok is like basically recontextualizing sound.
Right.
It's really just like an intense assemblage or bricolage.
Audio bricolage.
It's more audio bricolage of just like sound and human experience and relationships to the kind of like poetics of the audio, or like the meaning that is assembled in the audio track applied in new contexts, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, you're already blowing my mind. We have to save these. We have a game to play with you, and then we can come back to more questions if you're still feeling it. Otherwise, I'm happy to send the questions that we received in our email on to you. Of course, if you ever to answer them at no particular time, if you would like.
Sure.
But folks, I think we need to get Kay a break and we can play this silly game, and then we're good. How about that?
I'm down.
Does that sound okay, Kay? Do you want to play a game with us?
Are we going back to Bayonetta?
No,
kind of. Not really.
Oh,
no.
Now we're gonna play. Okay.
So Daisy, do the honors.
Okay, this is like on Jimmy Fallon when we come back from the interview after break with a game that we play with our guests. So if you haven't already clicked watch stream, do that again, because there's something new that is shared with you. And Dom will read it out loud, so you don't really need to look at the images. Dom will explain what they are.
You should be the one to explain first.
Yeah, so
most iconic Madonna videos, oh boy.
Okay, I need to ask you a very important question.
Yes,
have you ever made a tier list before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, for those who do not know, who may be listening at home, or whatever, from their areas in which they're connected to the internet and are somehow ended up on the Twitch Folkwise channel tonight, a tier list is something that comes from fighting games for people to rank characters that they really cared about. They're based on different kinds of fighting skills, statistics, things like that. But on the internet, and particularly on Twitch, it's become a kind of method for ranking everyday life, which is something that we love on our channel as folklorists.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
We often ask our guests to rank some kind of arbitrary element of folk culture or culture of our everyday life, and we made a tier list for you to rank the most iconic Madonna videos.
Yes, and as the description says, Kay Turner, author of I Dream of Madonna, Women's Dreams and the Goddess of Pop, is ranking these on Folkwise Live. 4, 5, 22.
Oh, all right.
So
well, then you're gonna be,
we have a tier list ranking from to D.
S to D.
Superior, masterclass, the best thing you can imagine. To D, which is like a disgrace, despicable, you hate it.
S is above 100%. If you could give above 100%, that's an S.
Above 100% is an S. We have a precedent on our show of both a double S and an
double S and an F. You cut out there a little bit, Daisy, but I'll say it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you feel that passionately about it, that is a thing that has happened.
Yeah, we can go higher than S and D, but I'll go down the list of the sleuths and I selected what we consider the most iconic Madonna videos, and you gotta rank them for us, okay?
All right.
You ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Let's start off with Material Girl.
I love doing this.
Where do you put the video for Material Girl on the scale, on the tier from S to D?
Well, so now what's in between S and D?
Oh, A, B, C. A, B, and C.
So there's
like, do you give it an A, do you give it a B, do you give it a C? Yeah.
Okay, A, B, C, and then D.
Yep, and then...
Okay. So I for Material Girl, I give it an A.
You give it okay. A off the bat. Good sign.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Madonna flipping the hand dryer upside down in the bathroom from Get Into the Groove. Where are we putting the video for Get Into the Groove?
Oh yeah. Right, I would say that Get Into the Groove I would do as a B.
Okay, solid. And then up next, you can't see, but she's on the gondola. We've got Like a Virgin.
You got Like a Virgin.
Mhm.
Okay.
So iconic.
So iconic. Not my favorite though. I would put it as a B.
As a
Ooh.
low B, like a B minus below Get Into the Groove.
No, probably on par.
Okay, on par.
I'm on par.
We can
Yeah.
we can move them by the end. A big problem with some of these we realized is that the live performances sometimes replace what you think the video is in your mind. Because we're like,
right.
oh yeah, Like a Virgin, the wedding dress. No, that's the MTV Awards. This is the gondola.
Yeah.
This,
Right.
yeah, the gondola was
Yeah.
it's never my favorite.
Next up, we've got La Isla Bonita.
Oh, La Isla Bonita.
Yeah, La Isla Bonita. Italian, sorry.
I do love that one.
Until this
but
week,
no,
I thought
would
that
have
song was
to do
called
that
Sandpaper.
as a I would still do that one as an A.
Okay, is that below
Ooh.
Material Girl? Material Girl has
Yeah,
the
I
edge?
think it's slightly yeah, I would say
Got
it's
it.
A minus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's coming next? This next one is Like a Prayer.
Like a Prayer goes to double S status.
Like okay. Like a Prayer. We have to make double S for Like a Prayer. Aggro
we
above.
We gotta make a double.
We gotta
S
make the new
Double
tier.
S immediately.
This is like 110%. 110% is what you're
But
telling
this
me.
is Like a Prayer is in my top 5 Madonna videos of all time.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
And it's very close to
make
the
that.
top. It could be like,
Well,
could even
Oh my
be
god! I'm so curious
number
what
one.
beats it.
yeah, I wonder if anything else
We'll
we
find
picked
out.
is gonna beat it. Yeah.
I wonder. Oh my god!
Well, hey, Kay,
Yeah.
are you ready? Because the next one is my favorite Madonna video of all time. And that's Justify My Love.
Oh yeah. Well, you can put that up with double S too.
Now, is it above Like a Prayer or below Like a Prayer?
You can put that up with double S because that's in my top 5.
Now, if you had to pick one to give the edge to as of right now, but it can change, is it Like a Prayer or
Ooh.
Justify My Love?
I think that is so hard. Because Justify My Love, I have like gone to sleep with on so many occasions.
Oh,
You know?
It's my favorite Madonna song.
Yeah. I just love it. And I love the whole setup. All right, I would put it slightly above Like a Prayer.
Yeah,
Yes!
Chad, are you happy? Chad, are you happy?
yes!
Slightly above, but not that
For,
much
like-
far above.
Yeah.
like,
just gets the edge. This is
just for
110.
barely for-
This is a 110, and that's a 111. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
next up we've got Erotica.
Erotica. I love that. But I love the song more than I love the video.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs of hers.
So where's
I
the
would
video?
put I would put the video. The video could be an A.
Now, is it a low A? Is it
No,
in
it
between?
can be a. It could be a. It could probably be an S.
Okay, it's
okay.
a smooth S.
Yeah,
Smooth
it could
S.
be an S. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Next up,
I love this.
this is probably the first Madonna video I ever saw because of like my age bracket. But Ray of Light.
Oh, Ray of Light. Oh my God, my all-time favorite song.
Wow!
What?
My all-time favorite song.
It's a great song.
The one I use in my solstice ceremony every year. I
Ooh!
make sing it to bring the light back, and I love it. I love
Where's
that
it
song.
going?
Where's the video go?
I know. Just a little bit. Um, um, where does the video go? Oh,
And I
so
feel
hard.
like I just got home and I
Like I just got
feel.
and I feel. This is where she keeps singing that she feels.
She does. She
love
feels.
this. Is same as Dom, where like this was the song my mom played on repeat in the car.
This is
like,
this is
on
the
my
one.
way to
my
school.
God. Oh, that
This
is
is
so.
the
Oh, I
song.
love that.
Yeah.
You are. I have been told this by numbers of people that their mothers played "Ray of Light" over and over again, and I
That's
feel like
fascinating.
I think there are Ray of Light children. Like
Oh
Daisy,
my
you're one
god.
of them. You're a
Oh,
Ray of
I'm
Light
the Ray of
child.
Light babies. Oh my gosh, this totally makes me think of my mom playing this in the car for real. Like I'm not just saying that because you just said. Oh my
No, I know.
gosh.
I've had other people say to me, "Oh, my mom loved that song.
Yes.
She played it for us." I was like, "Okay, then you're okay. You're an okay person."
My mom also always played oh my gosh, how does it go? There's another Madonna song my mom always used to play too.
We might get to it later. We got 4
Yeah,
left.
I think we might. I don't want
But
to spoil it. I'm not going to
Ray,
influence.
so
yeah.
is Ray of Light how close to the top is Ray of Light as a video with the time lapse photography?
I like the song more than the video.
Sure.
So I would put the song could go in the A category or even in the, as a video, I could put it even in B.
That's spicy.
Okay.
Put it in B.
That is spicy.
That is spicy.
Mm-hmm. Top
is
of
it
B?
the top of B or between La Isla Bonita and Like a Virgin? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
but as a song, it's one of my all-time favorite songs.
Now, Daisy, this next one I've got a car story for because it's my older brothers who were real into dance music around the turn of the millennium with their big subwoofers in their car. They were always playing this one, and this is Madonna and Sacha Baron Cohen starring in music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this
I
is another
love
one my mom always used to play.
Yeah,
there's
the
another one
bass.
too, though.
I always remember the bass. Yeah.
I don't know
love
if you
that
got
one.
I don't know if you got "Don't Tell Me" on there, but
Oh, we almost put "Don't Tell Me" on there. We almost. Put
that's the
Don't
one
Tell Me.
my mom
Yeah.
loves. "Don't Tell Me."
Oh, she loved that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet your mom.
She's
So do
sometimes in the show, on the show, in the chat.
Comes in the show?
She comes on the chat.
Don't Tell Me that's another great song.
So music, where is music in the tier list of music of Madonna music videos?
Yeah, it's a really great video.
It's hysterical. I rewatched it for this. It's so funny.
I know, it's so good. I don't know. I'd have to put it I'd put it in S.
Oh, okay. And above or below erotica?
Oh, below erotica.
Below erotica. Okay. Home stretch, but we got 2 bangers left. We got 2 absolute bangers left, and this is Express Yourself.
Oh, Express Yourself.
Oh,
God, love that video.
That's her on top of the staircase.
Yeah, the cat licking the milk.
Yep.
So great. It really is. It's it's her gender dysphoria, transgender crotch grabbing moment.
Yeah.
That is like,
yeah.
Which she played with a little bit in Who's That Girl?
Mm-hmm.
In that tour, which I saw in 1983.
Nice.
And I mean, not 1983, in 1987. And she kind of was but then when that song came out, she was like totally into it. Yeah. I love her. Wow, I love that video. It's such a great video.
It's iconic. It's like
yeah.
Metropolis.
I gotta put it. I need to put it in the double S.
And where does it go in double S?
Oh yeah.
It really is.
Is it the top of the top?
No, I would still keep Justify My Love.
Okay. Is it between Justify My Love and Like a Prayer?
It can be between Like a Prayer and Justify My Love, yeah.
Heck yeah.
And the last one, you already knew this was coming. The last one is Vogue.
Yeah, the last one's going to be Vogue. Well, I mean, it is just, it's fabulous. It's got to have double S.
And
I love
I
this
don't know.
so
I mean,
much.
I love it too.
It's hard. It's so hard to rank these because fucking
it's
Madonna's
not
such a
I
fucking
mean, those
star.
are, yeah.
And where in her
And you
her
missed some of my all-time favorites.
Oh my god, we'll ask that in a second.
is this the top? Is Vogue the top of Double S?
No, Vogue is not the top of Double S.
Ooh, Justify My Love, I'm vindicated. Where does it fit
I
in?
think Justify My Love has to stay at the top, and Like a Prayer next to it,
Or you mean
Okay.
Express Yourself next to it?
and then Vogue, and then Express Yourself.
Okay, so we're going Justify My Love, Like a Prayer, Vogue, Express Yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it's tough, but
Kay, what's your favorite one that we missed?
Yeah, what do we miss?
you know, one of my favorite ones is Live to Tell.
I don't think I've seen Live to Tell.
Oh,
Oh, it's so
I know the song,
beautiful.
but I don't think I've seen the video.
Oh, it's just her. It's a 360-degree, it's just her in a blank room with a chair, and the camera is just circling her while she sings the song.
Oh wow.
so fascinating.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful rendition. I mean, I love that song. It's one of the most important songs of hers. And it's having its I don't know, it's having its 40th anniversary this year or something like that.
Oh great.
Wow.
So Live to Tell is one, and then I love the one for the song "Oh Father," where she actually goes and visits her mother's grave.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they shot the video at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And she's on her mother's grave singing an indictment of her father. It's really,
Powerful shit.
I mean, it's
I don't-
powerful. It's
Yeah.
great. It's like, I mean, people,
It all comes back to Bayonetta.
It all comes back to a graveyard.
I mean, honestly, people were not doing that kind of thing. It was like shocking
Yeah.
to see some of the stuff that she was doing that was, I mean, everybody wants to sort of, grab around like a virgin or something like that, but those were kind of fluff pieces in comparison to some of the other stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
can I end this this tier list now that we have the final tier list? Can I end this with something I didn't know would happen?
Yeah.
This is some fan art we got while the stream was happening.
Yeah,
L Fox
we
Love in the
we
chat
did.
drew you a Bayonetta.
Drew this.
Oh,
Real.
nice.
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, that's fabulous.
It really is. Thank you so much.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that is great. Who's that from?
That was L Foxglove who was watching us in chat.
Oh, that's great. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fabulous.
At L Foxglove on Twitter if you want to see it, chat. But
Yeah, it's
you've
so
got
good.
this great Bayonetta, you've got this great Madonna tier list, and we had so much to talk about. I'm sorry we kept you on a little longer than we normally do, but I think we had some
Yeah.
great stuff all around. That is to say,
complaining.
there's only one thing left for the chat to do, as they say. Goodbye to you, chat. Like wish them goodbye. People already know. Yes, everybody, drop the ladders in the chat for Kay Turner. Let us see your ladders. Sign of a job well done. The fireworks too, if you haven't unlocked the ladders. Kay, if you had to plug one thing for the chat, I know you already mentioned your show in October, but where else can the people see you?
Oh, where else can the people?
It's an incredible
Well,
row of letters.
Well, I do have. If people are interested in my little book,
Yes, your book.
the before and after book, you can write to me at whatawitchproject@gmail.com, and I will send you ordering info if you'd like to.
I bet there are people in the chat who will. I bet you have got
What
you have got
project?
orders. You have got orders off of this stream. I
Yeah,
guarantee
for
it. People are
sure.
gonna buy that from the stream.
Whatawitchproject@gmail. Yeah.
The
Might as
legendary
well push that's the most recent product.
Do it.
Product. So
the
as
legendary
we
Kay
used to
Turner.
say,
Everyone.
in my band, product is our most important product.
Love it. Oh my gosh, Kay, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Kay.
You're so welcome. This was a blast.
I'm so happy we made it happen.
You're welcome. Too. I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
It was great. It was really great.
You're welcome to stay on with us. This is your natural out if you'd like to leave. We're probably going to chat for another 30 minutes, play a little bit more Bayonetta.
Yeah, we'll play more Bayonetta, and Daisy and I will come down from this interview.
Yeah. But that's about it for the rest of our show, which ends at 11 typically.
Yeah, but this is your out. If you need to go to bed, this is your out.
Otherwise, you can hang out with us.
I think I might leave you now, but
okay.
It was great. It was great to be with you.
I'm so glad you were here with us. And chat loves you. I can already tell.
Yeah, they're all sending GGs, which is good game.
Yeah, they're all giving you like the good game handshake at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Special emotional. Quilts have had on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.